Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Committee of the Whole agenda on Monday, September 11th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I have a few opening comments. First off, we have the Sports Expo happening this Wednesday, September 13th, and it's a sports expo. However, we will have a booth there that you can give your feedback on paid parking, wayfinding signage, and short-term rental discussions. As well, congratulations to the Dinosaur Half Marathon organizers. They had over 400 participants in the Valley. Great showing. I heard that new track was a neat idea, so there was a good feedback on that. So congratulations to the organizers. Nakamine Open House for the flood mitigation is Thursday at the BCF at 6 p.m. And finally, I would like to wish Lacey from the Drumheller Mail and our fabulous CAO Daryl happy birthday to both of them. I'm sure you're both sitting there under 40 something, not like the rest of us, but happy birthday. Anyways, and now we'll move on to, I would like to introduce Rick, our new manager of Recreation, Arts and Culture, and I will let Daryl take over.
Rick, just thought it'd be good to sort of introduce you to council and to rest of the administration and to the listening public. You want to just talk a few minutes about your sort of background, what your thoughts are about the recreation that you've seen here so far?
Well, if I talked about my background, we'd be here all night. So I'll make it really, really short for everybody. Well, basically, over 40 years experience in hockey and coaching, and running businesses, but my main love has always been recreation, and I've been spending my last 30 years in recreation. My first thoughts, I want to say the BCF staff are just amazing. They really, when I see people going out of their way to say hi to them, it's a real good indication. It's a very friendly place, and they've been very receptive to me so far. And also, I wanted to make a statement in terms of what I observed so far. I observe great facilities and great opportunities for managing fields and opportunity to maybe grow some of those other programs as well. And I've been preaching to the staff that we're the Recreation, Arts, and Culture Department, and that's moving forward. So thank you very much. Everybody's made me feel very, very welcome.
Thank you so much, Rick. All right, Council, do you have any additions to the agenda? Administration? Nope. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda, please? Tom?
I move to adopt the agenda for the September 11th, 2023 Committee of the Whole meeting as presented.
Seconder, please. Lisa? All in favor? Carried. Can I get a motion to adopt the minutes of June 12th Committee of the Whole, please? Tony?
I move to approve the minutes for the June 12th, 2023 Committee of the Whole meeting as presented.
Seconder? Patrick? Comments? All in favor? Carried. All right, we shall move over to 7.1, please. Greg, I will let you take over.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. Further to our paid parking discussions and information were put forward, I'll go over the briefing note. Brett from Comms will then go over our communications plan, further information on that. Earlier this year, as everyone on council knows, we were instructed to research, flesh out, and upon presenting the council in May, instructed to get a paid parking program functioning in the community. As everyone on council knows, we experience a great number of visitors to the valley, tourists. This place is a heavy demand on all resources, infrastructure, my department, challenges for staff that aren't necessarily written to sort out. Anyway, it's time consuming, and there are strain on resources. The costs, which we'll know to only go over in time, council is acutely aware of financial pressures. Implementing a paid parking program that would operate present information, we would operate from May 1st to October 31st. We would then be tapping into an unexplored or unused source of revenue for the valley, not to be money necessarily placed into general coffers, but money that would be held in to aid existing services and support those programs that do place a cost and strain, costs that are ordinarily borne by the taxpayers of Drumheller. Um, Further to questions that we have sought to answer in past meetings, um, the contractor we're working with is, everyone knows his name, is called Hotspot. They have implemented several programs in similar communities, large and small, to Drumheller across the country. They have provided information about their experience and can help us with, been very helpful in just the nuances of launching a program, and they've perhaps seen a situation before, or something has arisen, perhaps singular to a community, perhaps they've seen somewhere else. So they their experience, I find, is very helpful. Um, we are still gathering information from the community, as was noted earlier. On this Wednesday, we will be part of the Rec Expo at the BCF, and seeking to engage with people, inform, educate, and offer, um, accept what perhaps be suggestions, and just perhaps meant to enhance the understanding in the community of the program. Um, Brett in comms has been tremendously helpful in staff helping with, and for Francisco as well, um, information on the website to inform people about the program. Um, Everything from how we will register their vehicles to several other questions that have arisen, and some we're still working with. So we'll be at the expo taking questions, seeking feedback, and to inform people. Um, Brett and Francisco have also established an online link for a survey, but I'm not meaning to diminish it. I'm referring to it. I'm sorry, was it Citizen Lab? Brett, excuse me. Yes. Um, we will have information. We will have staff on hand to try to answer and hopefully alleviate some concerns. We have met with we have met with Travel Drumheller and Chamber of Commerce staff, um, and reviewed some of their concerns, and try to allay and reach common ground on the institution of a paid parking program. As this is new for us, but we fully understand that this is a council priority, as well, in keeping with goals of fiscal responsibility, and reasonable generation of revenue to help defray costs. New parking systems exist. It's constantly evolving. Changes have even taken place since we've started dealing with um, this contractor. It's like a lot of IT stuff in this day and age, and it's constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly improving, and keeping abreast of these things. But these are mostly back end functional things, not necessarily that which would the average citizen would have to, would deal with. Um, as I mentioned, Brett and Francisco were tremendously helpful. The CAO has provided much guidance to help us try to navigate this, and I believe the web page went active today with a link for feedback is online today. Brett, yes, and we have our booth this Wednesday. We're still working with some issues with Hotspot behind the scenes, um, and I'm happy to answer any questions or clarify anything I might have.
Thank you so much, Greg. Council, do you have any questions? Crystal?
Just more of a comment than a question, but I appreciate how much work this has taken administration to kind of sort out all the weeds until it gets out to public. So we appreciate that, and hopefully eliminates a lot of concerns with residents. Um, I really appreciate the comments about how this is going to benefit residents in a way that the cost of tourism isn't going to be nearly as much on residents. And that's the whole goal of this from a council perspective, is the burden being removed from us residents and only benefit us. And a reminder that the destinations where these parking lots are going to be, they're free amenities still. We're not charging for things to use these destinations. So there's got to be a way to recover those costs. So I'm looking forward to this. And I think we, as administration, has gotten all of the kind of the messy stuff figured out, and it's going to be effective and easy, and looking forward to it. But I appreciate that if residents can please provide their feedback, because when we do surveys, we only get 10, 15. So hopefully at the Parks and Recreation, we can have a lot more feedback on this one. Thank you.
Tom?
Just, sorry, if I can just interject, actually, we sort of had more presentation to do before questions, which was going to Brett to go through the website. Sorry, yeah, sorry, no, it's good. It was just, wanted to make sure that, we've gone a lot of work on the website just to show the public as well, right? So if we can do that first and then hold your questions, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just as Greg mentioned, the communications department has been working very closely with emergency and protective services to get all of the information up and available for residents, and especially in preparation for the Wednesday Expo, where people will be asked to provide feedback, and we'll be going to the public to ask for questions. So this is what we have on the website now. This went live today. It is an informative platform where residents can go get the information that they have, kind of gather their questions, and then come back and provide our teams with the questions and feedback that they have. I'm just going to read through it. And like I said, this is all available now. So the town of Drumheller is partnering with Hotspot, as Greg said, to roll out a pilot project for paid parking in specific areas throughout Drumheller. This program will improve parking availability and generate revenue to assist with upgrades and infrastructure maintenance throughout the Drumheller Valley. This paid parking program will be implemented from May 1st to October 31st from 9 o'clock a.m. until 9 o'clock p.m. daily. On-street parking time will be limited for 2 hours for both residents and visitors. If you look here, this is a link for residents to visit, and it's very simple. You just scroll down and it will ask for any questions or concerns that you may have, and that will be sent directly to us to be given back to the teams. Here we have a program map of the locations that paid parking will be implemented. It includes the parking lots at the Badlands Community Facility, the Hoodoos, Rodebris Park, the world's largest dinosaur, as well as street parking along Riverside Drive East. And then the parking lots also on 1st Street East, 2nd Avenue West, and the corner of 2nd Street West and Riverside. Up next, we have just a short little video showing just how easy it is for people to utilize the QR code and the signage to pay. So it's very easy. You just scan a QR code and it will direct you to a web page, and you just enter in a license plate number and use Apple Pay or anything on your phone to pay for that parking. Here we have the cost. The paid parking program will, as I mentioned before, be implemented from May 1st to October 31st from 9 o'clock a.m. until 9 o'clock p.m. daily. The paid parking will be required in select lots, all of which will be indicated by hotspot parking signs. And the rates are as follows. Parking lots $2 an hour, street parking $2.50 an hour, and day parking is $20 a day. I just want to also emphasize the fact that residents in the valley do not have to pay for parking at any time. There is a residential parking permit in which people can apply and register up to 4 vehicles per household. So no resident has to pay for parking. And then I just wanted to walk through the FAQ section here just to get a better idea and kind of dive into some of those questions. So Is there a fee for Town of Drumheller residents to register their vehicles? No, there's not a fee. Registering for a residential parking permit is free for Drumheller residents. What information do I need to provide to register my vehicle? The information required to register for a residential parking permit is as follows: license plate number, province, proof of residence. Additional optional information that you can provide is a vehicle year, make and model, and a nickname. That's extremely helpful if you have more than one vehicle or if there's kind of rotating vehicles throughout that. How many vehicles can be registered per Town of Drumheller home? A maximum of 4 vehicles can be registered. This number can be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. I live in Drumheller, but my vehicle is registered with a company outside of the town. Do I have to pay for parking? You can register outside vehicles as long as proof of residence is provided. If the license plate is registered with an existing account, there will be no charge. And I just wanted to elaborate, what is the difference between a residential parking permit and general paid parking? So residential parking permits are available to residents who live in the Drumheller Valley and allow for registered vehicles to park for free in designated paid parking zones. Residential parking permits help communities manage non-resident vehicles and ensure that there is residential parking available in neighborhoods that may be impacted by tourist attractions. General paid parking is required by non-registered residents and visitors in designated paid parking areas during the months of May to October from 9 o'clock a.m. until 9 o'clock p.m. These payments can be made installments of per hour or per day. Some general paid parking FAQs. I work in town but live in another town. Do I need to pay for parking? No, if you live outside Drumheller and work in the town, all that is required to be exempt is a letter from your employer and a license plate number. This information can be uploaded in the Hotspot Parking app. I have kids that play hockey. Do I have to pay for parking? If you are a resident of Drumheller and you have registered with Hotspot Parking, you do not have to pay. My child is at hockey camp for a week. Do I have to pay for parking every day? If you are a resident of Drumheller and you have registered with Hotspot Parking, you do not have to pay for parking. If you are not a resident of Drumheller, you will be required to pay for parking every day. We are having a wedding/multi-day event at the Badlands Community Facility. Do we have to pay for parking every day? If you're a resident of Drumheller and you have registered with Hotspot Parking, you do not have to pay for parking. Special arrangements can be made to accommodate events arranged through the Badlands Community Facility. For example, a potential way that this could look is a wedding booking would get an agreed upon number of parking spaces to accommodate bride, groom, and wedding party. I have a disabled parking placard. Do I have to pay for parking? Designated handicap accessible stalls are exempt from paid parking for those with a valid disabled parking placard. If parking in spaces not marked as handicap accessible stalls, payment will be required. I drive a tour bus/school bus/RV. Do I have to pay for multiple parking spots? No, payment will only be required for 1 parking spot. Why will street parking be limited to 2 hours? One purpose of implementing a paid parking program is to improve parking availability at popular destinations throughout the Drumheller Valley. Limited time for street parking in these areas ensures that parking becomes available at a more consistent pace. Will the town be hiring extra staff to assist with paid parking enforcement? Resources needed for the program are being assessed by administration. I run a bed and breakfast/Airbnb in the Drumheller Valley. How do I register guests? Free parking is only available for residents. If visitors intend to park in designated paid parking areas, payment is necessary regardless of accommodation. I don't have a cell phone and or the app. Is there another way to pay? A POS stand option is currently being investigated by our teams. As more information becomes available, we will be providing updates, all of which will be able to be found on this page. How will I receive my parking violation ticket? Physical parking violation tickets will be printed and left on the windshield of the vehicle or given to patrons on site. How much is a fine for parking violations? Under the Town of Drumheller Traffic Bylaw 1022, the fine for a parking violation is $50. And how do I pay for a parking violation ticket? The recipient of the parking violation ticket will need to go to the Hotspot app and follow the prompts to pay for the ticket. And they are very straightforward. You just open the app, follow the prompts all the way through. And if the person who received the violation ticket wishes to dispute it, it's also quite easy. You go in, you put in the ticket, and then you leave it. And that gets sent back to our teams and discussed on our end, and the person who received the ticket should know within 1 or 2 weeks what the dispute looks like. Yes. And then we just have some support and assistance information here.
Thank you so much, Brett. All right, further questions? Tom, you had a hand up next.
Good work, team. I know this was a team effort, not just Greg. I know he works very hard, but I know you guys work very hard too. So thank you very much. So paid parking is again something that council is looking at to help bring money into the community so that people don't have to use their tax money to pay for infrastructure that is possibly used by tourists. And the best example I would use is every year we get what 150,000, 200,000 tourists to the Hoodoos. And the Hoodoo's parking lot and the washrooms is the town's responsibility. And right now there are porta potties there. And that isn't a really good tourist experience, porta potties. So just an example, if we were to build decent washrooms, and I look at the one that we built downtown at the plaza, would work particularly well out at the Hoodoos, obviously. That's what, a couple of $100,000 for that? Well, that would be a wonderful, bonus to a tourist experience in the valley. But we don't want to foist that cost onto our taxpayers. So that's a perfect example of where we would use this parking money. That it costs the town a lot of money for infrastructure for tourists, and this way we would get tourists to actually be paying for that. So even though we don't want to necessarily charge for parking, I mean, it'd be nice to have free parking all over the place. The alternative is, upping taxes to pay for things that tourists primarily use. So I think it's a very good thing. My last comment would be I don't think that this will be perfect when we roll it out. I think there will always be some bugs in it that we'll have to iron out, but that'll get sorted out. And again, I think it's very good effort on your part.
Anybody else? Lisa?
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all the hard work on this. It's been something past councils have been really pushing for, so it's nice to see it actually be there. I just want to reiterate for those who are listening, you can go to the town Drumheller website to home, then to your municipality, then to paid parking program to follow all the information that Brett was just talking about. The one question, I actually got a few questions. Why 9 to 9 and not 24/7 during those months if it's all electronic?
Why only charge 12 hours a day, or is that,
Well,
or,
yeah, like, so the museum closes at 9, so you get all that traffic after that, might head out to, say, the Hoodoos or something, and they're not paying. Like, I feel like we're missing an opportunity considering we already got a shorter window for summer season. Might as well not have a time restriction, is what I'm saying.
well, municipalities for the large part that we've learned from Hotspot don't charge during the dark hours for, it's
Well,
been a,
in the summertime, it's light till like 11, right? So and most people wouldn't visit if it was dark anyway. So you wouldn't be collecting, but in the daylight hours, you could be missing out on some good funds.
well,
for
that's been the general parameters of, we've accepted, and I don't, that's what we've been operating under. That was, we can look at it and make changes,
Yeah, I'm just
may be,
asking.
but it's generally not paid in the, I don't recall.
I think a secondary issue is enforcement, right? So if that means you're now staffing longer into the evening, which, then, because you're not, it's one thing to just charge for parking, but if you're trying to also make sure that people are actually paying, you need to do enforcement, which adds more of a cost to extend the hours out to, 11 PM instead of 9 PM. So
I get that, but I'm under the impression it's more of an educational process for the first little while. So I don't see the harm in, at least trying to get a bit more of that income off that during the summer months. My other question is more for administration. The Hoodoos, Do you expect them to be open in 2024?
I mean, you have paid parking at the Hoodoos?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be included in one of our zones. Hotspot made an error and didn't print signs for us for the Hoodoos, but we are including the
But the
Hoodoos as one of our
Hoodoo, or
zones.
not the Hoodoo, sorry, the suspension bridge. Brain fart.
Well, not till it's,
Yeah, suspension, suspension bridge, the tender for repairs, I think is slated to go out this week, early, like if not tomorrow. And I think that the tender is written that everything must be ready to go for April 2024.
Okay, and then my last question is, it's great to hear that you're not charging for disabled parking spots or those who have placards. Are we going to expand and add some more disability slots for people?
I think that's really more of an issue that is depending on demand for that, right? So there's, I think within the areas right now, the handicap spots, I don't know if that's the correct term to use anymore, but we believe there's enough based on, certainly at the pool and at the BCF, based on um, transportation quotas. I think through downtown, it's a different, it's one of those evaluations. However, we're not doing downtown, so for parking.
No, fair enough. I just glad to see that it's on part of the discussion. Thanks.
Anybody else? Patrick?
Yeah, thank you. Tom brought up a great example of how funds from this can be used. I'm just curious, will we want to, implement a sort of policy to manage a restricted reserve for that, just for transparency, or?
So when we started collecting funds for the Hoodoo's parking lot in 2019, 2020, we actually set aside a dedicated reserve account for any surplus funds for that, with the idea that it's expressly used for construction or maintenance of existing tourism facilities. I would see that all of the money that is excess of expenses from this program goes into that as well, which then would be withdrawn for projects like washrooms at the Hoodoos or repairs to pavement at the world's largest dinosaur parking lot, et cetera. So,
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so when will people be able to register their vehicle? Like, is that going to be after like right now, they can go on this site, but they can't really register yet, correct? Okay, so that'll probably come out when you guys, after you have all your input from the comments at on Wednesday and online and stuff?
Sorry, I think you can register right now if you'd like to for it, right? It's live to be able to register your vehicle as a residential permit holder.
Like if I wanted to register right now, could I do that?
we've gone on and hit some roadblocks. I can't say it's going to operate with any fluidity right now.
Okay,
We were
so,
on again on Friday and talking to Hotspot as well. We're talking again tomorrow morning. And I can't say it for sure right now. I wouldn't.
okay,
It's
so
working.
we're gonna just educate people on the system. And then we will tell them, we will make a big announcement when it's ready to go live. Okay,
Somebody
all
may
right.
come up with something, Mrs. Colberg, that
Yep.
somebody may come up with something that
No, I
needs to
just,
be looked
if
at.
I'm
Yeah.
just asking, even if I wanted to try it today, if it was, but if it's not live, I don't want people all of a sudden going on and then emailing everybody saying it doesn't work. So right now it's not live. Just want to reiterate, locals are free. Just want to reiterate, there is no downtown paid parking. And can we, since the Springing Bridge is going, Suspension Bridge will be ready in April 2024, can we get that added on now so that it's into the system?
No, we can certainly get it added in time,
Yeah.
but we wouldn't put it on now until it's repaired and,
Yeah,
you know.
but
ready
we'll
for
have the
touring
signage and
traffic.
everything. It's not like a
hard.
quick,
No, ma'am, it's not hard. It's not hard to add
okay.
it to the system. That is all.
Perfect. Yes, great comments from all the council. I think there's definitely some things we just want to double check there. Times Lisa has some valid points there that, again, we are a tourism community and people use all those facilities late into the hours. So, again, we're just, as Crystal said, and Tom and Patrick, we're just trying to find a way to alleviate the pressure on the residents of our municipality. So, okay. Oh, Lisa, go ahead.
Just one more question in regards to those who live outside of Drumheller. So if somebody has like an annual gym membership or Aquaplex membership, do they have to pay every time they come to park at our facilities, even though they purchased a or have an ongoing payment coming out of their account?
If they're not a resident of Drumheller, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anybody else?
I just have two sort of comments to add to it. So one is that just to added comment to your point. So residents who register do not have to pay. So if you choose to not register and you then park in one of these areas, you will be either required to pay or would be ticketed in the future when that's all sourced out. The other piece is, Brett, can you just talk a little bit more about the survey, please, that's online for people?
Yeah, for sure. The survey is just one question, and it's just an open box in which people are able to go in and just throw whatever feedback they want. It's not like a one-time thing. So if you have one question, submit one question, you can always return and add more as time goes on. And we don't have a closing date right now for it, but it will be live and available on the 13th when our teams go to get feedback at the expo.
And I just want to reiterate too, the whole idea about trying to get it out this fall is the idea of let's trial it. Let's get learn from some of our things that we're going to see when we implement it this fall, to be able to study and improve it over the winter time, to hopefully come April where we've got a lot of the bugs out of the system. So as opposed to waiting until April and then finding out we have issues, it's better to try to work some of that stuff out now in the next 6 weeks or so.
Okay. Well, that's, oh, sorry, go ahead, Steph.
Sorry, I was just thinking, some families may have more than 4 vehicles. Say mom, dad have a vehicle and they have 3 or 4 kids and they each have a vehicle. If they have more than 4, are we possible at looking at being able to register all their vehicles to their house? Or it's just 4 and
No,
that's that?
Ms. Price, we put in the FAQs here that we'll look at on a case-by-case basis if it's in excess of 4 vehicles.
Thanks, Greg.
Anybody else? Okay, so we want your feedback. Again, they will have all this information on our social media page as well as our website. Check out the FAQs. Great job in the FAQs because you answered a good portion of our questions before we even had to ask them. So thank you for that. And just a reminder, as Daryl reinforced, locals are free, but you still have to register. Otherwise, you will have to pay and you will get the fine. So please, when it goes live, get your vehicle registered. All right, thanks, Greg. Janice, Brett, well done. Okay, now we are going to go into strategic planning. So we are going to be done here today. So council, can I get a motion, please? Lisa?
I move that council close the meeting to the public to discuss strategic planning as per VoIP 16, disclosure harmful to business of a third party, VoIP 23 subsection 1, local public body confidences, VoIP 24 subsection 1, advice from officials.
Seconder, please. Crystal, all in favor? Carried. All right, everyone, thank you for being with us. We will, once we're done here tonight, we will be finished for the evening. So thank you for being with us and we will see you next week. Have a great week and take care.